What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the NoFaceCrypto channel. What is NoFace? No case. You feel me? Even if Zebec is up 50, 100%, it doesn't matter. It does not change the investigation I have done already. It does not change all the questions surrounding this project. It does not change the investigation I have conducted before and the investigation you guys are about to see at the end of this week. Alright, but because that investigation is pre-recorded, I've just finished it yesterday, and a lot of it does not have to do with current events of Zebec. There is a reason Zebec is up almost 40% today, so far. Today is 7/21. I do not know when you guys will be getting this video. I'm probably going to drop it tomorrow, to be completely honest. You guys might see this on 7/22. I am dropping the investigation on Zebec Part 2 probably on Friday. And that will allow the chance for Zebec to come out maybe with some SOC 2 compliance and clarify a little bit about why this is pumping 40% today. Why is this pumping 40% today? It is pumping today due to the announced partnership with Zebec and Algorand. Alright, so if we go ahead and we can take a look here. Zebec has announced, well, they didn't say the words partnership here, but I'll let you know. The community, if you ask the community, they're going to say it's a partnership. We're going to get into that in just a second. First things first, I'm going to preface this video by saying, what is a Potemkin village? A Potemkin village is something that is built or created to appear impressive or desirable, but is actually a facade hiding a more negative reality. You guys do with the information what you want to do. 8 hours ago, Zebec is bringing its payment technology to the Algorand ecosystem with the integration of Algo across our card and payroll tools. Algorand security and ISO 222 readiness set the standard for real-world crypto payments with Zebec card. Algo holders can now spend their coins anywhere MasterCard is accepted. Stay tuned for the updates from Zebec and Algorand teams later this week on how Zebec will enable payroll in the Algorand ecosystem. Now, I can make an assumption here. If we're talking about real utility, I'm gonna give Zebec and the community a bone right now. All right, Algorand is partnered very, very well with Lofty. Now, if they figured out a way to make payments through Algorand on tokenized real estate, you know, that's pretty good. And I will give Zebec full credit there. Again, I do hold Zebec, and I am not fudding this project. If you guys see what I'm really trying to do here, you understand. If you guys are a smart investor and you hold the real utility assets, go ahead and subscribe to this channel right now. But basically, I'm just investigating one of the assets that I hold. Zebec happens to be one of them, and they have the most question marks surrounding them. But investigation number 2 is dropping at the end of this week. In terms of Algorand and their partnership here, when you are putting Zebec and Algorand right next to each other in a picture, all right, and you're saying ecosystem, technology to the Algorand ecosystem with the integration of Algo across our card and payroll tools. It is basically making it seem like you're doing a full-on integration into Algorand. Now, I need to say this right now, guys. Your community loves saying that this is a partnership. Also, I want to make it very clear here. Why is every post on Zebec 6 times saying Zebec is not a scam? That alone is sus. But there's so much more to come in this investigation coming next at the end of this week. So I'm not even going to go into it in here. But massive congratulations to both of our partners. Let's see. Obviously, Algorand did not validate this statement yet, but I am expecting them to. Congrats. What a partnership, gents. So you can see right here, the community is already calling this a partnership. Do you see the new partnership? Algorand with ZBCN. Partnership very bullish. Boom, another ZBCN massive partnership. So you see the community already calling this a partnership, guys. I need you to understand something very, very clear here, and I am not trying to FUD this project. This is not a partnership. A partnership provide equal things to one another. This is not what's happening here. If anything, Zebec is getting so much more out of this deal than Algorand is. First off, for Algorand. Algorand is utility assets, real world asset, digitalized real estate. Why would you want to spend your Algorand? Which is what they're saying in this first statement here. Why would you even want to spend your Algorand in the first place? All right. But this is just a long, long line of issues with Zebec alleging partnerships that are not actual partnerships. All right. What is a partnership? Do we really have to break it down for you guys? Partnership, i.e., a mutually balanced collaboration with deep, quote unquote, deep integration. All right. Now, what are my issues here? First, we have ecosystem expansion. All right. Zebec Network, a platform focused on real-time payroll and crypto to fiat payments, gets access to Algorand's established user base and algo holders. All right. You're seeing this trend with Zebec XRP holders, Algorand holders. They want people with the big bucks. They know what they're doing, but at the same time, it's a little bit suspect. And I'll get into that in just a second here. By integrating Algorand into its Zebec cards and payroll tools, Zebec can market its services to a new audience, potentially increasing adoption of its WageLink app and card offerings. This is a significant win for Zebec, which is still building its multi-chain ecosystem. Guys, this is a win for Zebec, but it is heavily embellished. Things are heavily embellished with this company. And I know when I just say this alone with this partnership here, you guys are going to say I'm fighting and I'm talking crazy on this partnership. I'm not. I've given props here. But when you guys see this investigation coming up at the end of this week, you will understand where I'm coming from. I promise. Lock in. Subscribe. Alright? Now, this is another thing. Zebec just came on the block a couple years ago. All these other utility coins, utility assets have been in works to get ISO compliance forever. Alright? Zebec can't just show up on the map and just have their cake and eat it too. So there's issues here. Alright? Now, let's just... Long story short here, okay? Algorand is a well-regarded blockchain with strong technical foundation. Alright? Zebec, a newer player despite $35 million funding from Circle, Coinbase Ventures, and other benefits from associating with Algorand's established name to enhance its legitimacy in the blockchain finance space. Yes, 100%. Zebec does not have ISO 222 compliance. They are aligning themselves with projects that do have that compliance. That being said, one of Zebec's investors was FTX. But we're going to go into that in the later investigation. Alrighty. So, a minimal technical lift for Zebec. Integrating Algo into Zebec's existing infrastructure likely requires less effort than building a whole new chain, a whole new infrastructure altogether. This is like literally plug and play. That's another issue here. Marketing boosts. Alright. Zebec's tools and positions Algorand and Alright. Zebec's tools, cards, payroll, and positions Algorand as a supporting feature. Alright. Post on X shows excitement among algo holders, but the focus is on Zebec's utility. This framing suggests Zebec is using Algorand's name to drive hype for its own products, potentially exaggerating the partnership's scope. Ladies and gentlemen, obviously I'm reading this from somewhere, and I'm reading this from an AI. And you guys can't say that I'm just talking out of my ass here, because half of this community uses AI for their research. So I'm just using AI to support an argument, which I've always had on Zebec. Their partnerships are heavily embellished. Alright? So I'm really interested to see what the Algorand team has to say here by the end of the week. We're supposed to get SOC 2 compliance by the end of the month. You know, I really want to see this stuff here. And I'm hoping this comes through as a real utility asset this cycle. I do have a bag. I would be happy. It is my job as an investor and as an informer for you guys to ask these questions and put these on your head. This is not FUD. FUD is a word for uneducated, broke people in the crypto space, and that is a fact. If you disagree with me, I don't care. Say what you want to say in my comments. Y'all will see in the investigation. Alright? Another issue. Alright, there's no deep integration. This announcement lacks technical collaboration or strategic collaboration, such as developed protocols, shared governance, or exclusive features for Algorand. This is merely the allocation of use for Algorand on Zebec cards. That's merely what this is. As of right now, that is what we know. So when we hear more for Algorand, I will obviously update this channel. Absolutely, as a holder of ZBCN, it is my duty to do so. It is also my duty to investigate this project, which I will be doing. Tap in on Friday. Alright. Is this a true partnership, guys? This is the question we need to be asking here. Is this a true partnership? We're pumping 36% today. The community seems to think so. I just have to say this here, guys. A true partnership typically involves mutual investment, co-developed technology, or exclusive features benefiting both parties equally. That is a fact. Here, the integration seems to be a standard token addition for Zebec, leveraging Algorand's reputation and user base without offering significant, unique value to Algorand's beyond incremental utility for algo holders. That is a fact. That is a fact. Y'all can argue with me in the comments. Alright? The vague promise of future payroll updates and the lack of technical specifics further suggest this may be more about marketing than deep collaboration, which is what I've been saying with Zebec this entire time. This just seems like one big marketing ploy until we see real utility. And then, as I had mentioned earlier in the video, there is real potential for real utility here. But until then, it is my job to investigate this stuff and question all of this stuff. Alright, if you guys want to dump in all your bags, all your eggs in one basket and go all in on ZBCN, go ahead and be my guest. I hope you guys become rich billion trillionaires by the end of this. I really, really do. And I want everyone to make money in this space. I am sharing my opinion here, and I just want you guys to know, like, it is remain cautiously optimistic with ZBCN right now until we can see something real. We are still 2 zeros from a decimal point. We can dollar cost average all the way up 50 cents. Like, once we get to 50 cents, if we held that, we could just, it doesn't matter, guys. There's so much opportunity to dollar cost average here. There is no need to rush. This is why I'm letting things play out, and I am investigating while that is happening. Now, back to what I was saying. Alright, in simplest form, I'm going to summarize why this is not a partnership. Why this is not a partnership. But I already have, I'm going to do it again for you guys. Alright, Zebec gains the most from this ecosystem. Zebec expands its multi-chain platform by adding Algo, tapping into Algorand's user base to boost payroll adoption of its cards and payroll tools, while Algorand gains only incremental token utility. Remember, the main use for the main use for Algorand here is purely RWA, tokenized real estate, RWA. All right, DeFi as well, but that is a very, very large portion of Algorand. People are not going to be selling their Algorand like that. I can promise you that. And that is what this kind of explains here. All right, number 2, leveraging Algorand's credibility. As I had stated before, Zebec is basically the new player on the block, and they are using Algorand's established reputation to enhance its legitimacy with minimal unique value offered to Algorand. We have service level integration. All right, partnership involves token support rather than deep technical collaboration, but we will see later in the week. I don't want to hear your comments saying I'm fighting. I'm saying let's wait till the end of the week and see what really happens and what is said here. This is good news, but this is not a partnership as far as I'm concerned right now, like the community is saying. And with my investigation that, again, is coming out at the end of the week, you guys will still understand why I'm questioning this so much. And if you haven't seen my previous videos on Zebec before, y'all need to tap in and watch those right now. Right now. I'm not fudding. I'm not fudding. Tap the fuck in. So, we have vague promises. The announcement says, stay tuned for payroll details such as hype over substance. Typical of embellished partnerships to drive market sentiment. Gentlemen, this is what happened with the Ripple product. We're still waiting on that, though. We thought we would heard more 2 weeks from that point, and we never did. So, again, I'm waiting to follow up, and we're going to see what happens with SOC 2 compliance and this new partnership with Algorand. This has the potential to be very, very good for this coin. But there's a million questions that still need to be asked. Tune into the investigation, guys, I promise. I would not lead you down the wrong path. I'm not lying. I'm not fudding. Alright? One-side framing. Again, Zebec, card, and payroll are the focus, with Algorand positioned as a supporting token. Not a strategic partner, indicating Zebec benefits more from all of this. Guys, this seems like just name dropping. 100% name dropping. And that's about all I have to say for this video. You guys can go ahead and tune in later on in the week on Friday for the full-on Zebec investigation. And I will catch you guys another time. AKA, fuck the bots. You feel me?